Can you legally return fire after being jumped and shot by complete strangers using very realistic airsoft guns? That's the question in this video, and we're going to answer that with top criminal defense attorney Tom Grieve. But first, let me tell you that we have a gun giveaway going on right now, and you can enter for free, but it ends soon. Just click the link in the description down below, and we'll show you which gun you have a chance to win. All right, Tom, thank you for coming back again. And I should point out that this question came across the transom. A young boy, 14 years old, driving the family golf cart down the side of the road, gets jumped, and this is just exactly how the question came in, gets jumped by a group of total strangers who just riddled him with airsoft bullets. And he was completely covered with welts, and there was a lot of drama surrounding this. And it begs the question, now, can you respond with deadly force to an attack such as this? And I have some opinions on this, and there's lots of questions surrounding it, but I'm waiting for the it depends.
Well, it depends. Okay, so as a general rule, of course, let's start with some of the obvious things. Check your local listings. All these laws change with place and time and so forth. One of the big questions here is it reasonable for the victim to believe that they are facing a deadly threat? Okay, because generally speaking, and there's changes, there's differences, check your local listings, but generally speaking, to use deadly force, you need to be facing a deadly threat. So when the attackers produce the airsoft guns, which you can make look pretty much like the real thing, at that point, can they use deadly force when these individuals are, presumably pointing, brandishing, maybe giving commands or whatever? I think there's going to be a very realistic argument. Yes, you can. Once they start to pull the trigger and little BBs are coming out, which in and of itself is classified as less than lethal. But there's an odd little snafu in a lot of states' laws. And again, this is the it depends again, right? Generally speaking, what's the definition of deadly force? Here in Wisconsin, there's a bifurcation, and that's the $2 word for. There's kind of a split between how it's defined. Deadly force basically can be force that can foreseeably, kill someone. Or number two, it can also be force that can foreseeably cause great bodily harm. So great bodily harm, generally defined as like a loss of limb, loss of use of an organ, things like that. Well, eyes are just tricky little things, and I'm not suggesting that somebody should ever use lethal force to defend against an airsoft gun attack. What I am suggesting is that there is a line of legal argument that one could at least try to use that, hey, I'm not wearing the protective eye equipment or anything like that, and I've got somebody who's, these airsoft rifles, some of them are shooting 20, 30 rounds, a second, or some of them are very, very quick. They're not just, spring-loaded cockers or something like that. That could be considered technically deadly force. Now, I'm not saying that that's an argument that I would be excited about as a defense attorney when you're arguing to the law rather than the facts. And there's an old expression in law that if you have the facts, pound the facts. If you have the law, pound the law. That would definitely be a pounding the law situation. But there is that line out there. Generally speaking, though, look, I would not be using firearms or deadly force to prevent or to terminate an airsoft attack. But that's going to be tricky. When does a non-deadly attack turn into a deadly attack?
Yeah, and when we're talking about it at the police academy, at the police level, we can use deadly force against any action which has caused or imminently threatens to cause death or great bodily harm. And yeah, the technical term right there, great bodily harm, I could possibly have lost an eye. But I go back to an even more nuanced question is, okay,
here we go.
Get ready for this now.
I'm sitting.
So somebody jumps out with an airsoft gun and points it, brandishes it as if it were a real gun. And, I don't want to wait around to tell the difference that when the person pulls the trigger, do I hear the little puff of air and see the 6mm BB coming out? Or do I hear the loud report, see the flash, and the 9mm BB comes out? That there's a big difference there. And I think that if it's a group of kids, let's say kids, but even 17-year-olds, sometimes they're young adults, jump out and they start shooting a whole bunch of airsoft guns, and you realize them immediately to be airsoft guns. That's completely different. That might be assault, because a person's getting covered with welts. But if a person is standing in a convenience store pointing what turns out to be an airsoft gun at the clerk saying, give me the money, there's a whole different level of action that can or should be taken at that point. Am I right?
Right, because at that point, the individual who's asking to be shot, i.e. the attacker with the airsoft gun, nobody can discern whether or not that's a deadly threat. So I think that there's that moment, which, to be clear, I think we're both putting our finger on the same thing here of when do you know that it's a facsimile firearm? When do you know that it's a fake gun? Even though it's one that could arguably and very really cause great bodily harm versus, something that shoots the 9mm BBs.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's a tough area, and it's why I always tell people to consult with an attorney and understand the laws as best you can before you get into this. But this is going to be, and I don't know, I'm kind of stuck on the word nuanced. This is a nuanced argument on several different levels on the use of these airsoft guns and the swirling around what could possibly happen when we're doing something like
And
this.
I think something that I know we'll both agree upon is the only thing that's unnuanced is that if you're going to, this is play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yep.
If you're going to be using an airsoft gun, not that I'm suggesting that people who are going to rob someone should use a real gun instead of an airsoft gun. How about let's just agree to not rob people? Let's get a job and not do that. But this is play stupid games, win stupid prizes, and right, somebody's going to try to rob a gas station or convenience store with a firearm, or rather not a firearm, but something that is probably deliberately altered to appear to be a firearm. I think it's entirely reasonable that they're going to expect to be met with violent resistance and self-defense. And that's a case that, speaking as a former state prosecutor myself, that's not a case that I would want my boss or supervising prosecutor to say, hey, go ahead, charge this one, good luck at trial. I think that's the one where everybody's kind of looking down at their cell phones in the meeting and trying not to be that one getting it.
Yeah, I don't want to make eye contact and get called on.
Yeah.
This is your case now.
Right, yeah, no.
Right. Well, thank you very much. I don't know if we give the absolute perfect answer on this one. I don't know that there is. This is a very confusing situation. But as always, truly appreciate your help and insights on stuff like this. Folks, if you like videos like this, please subscribe to this channel. We'll give you more great videos regularly. All you got to do is click the notification bell. We will notify you every time we come out with a new video. And thank you for watching all the way to the end. Now, all you got to do is click on that link in the description, and you can find out which new gun you can win. I'm Kevin Michalowski from the U.S. Concealed Carry Association. Stay safe.